No more hope? We're dealing right now in the book of Acts, as you know. And we have come into a situation where they're on the open sea. It is fall. And if you know anything about the fall in the Mediterranean, it can get rough. I'm Pastor John from Livingstone's and Sunland Tujunga Seventh-day Adventist Churches, and it is time for the call to prayer. It is time for hopelessness to be turned into hope. Have you experienced that in your life? A hopelessness that is intense. I have felt that in my own life. Sometimes at the hands of the world, sometimes at the hands of those in my church, sometimes at the hands of those in my family, sometimes at the hands of those whom I do not know. I remember when once I went to India on a mission trip with my son and my wife. We had a wonderful mission trip. But in Hyderabad, all of the equipment that we had brought, all the donations we had brought were, they tried to impound. And I know how many countries are when they see expensive things, they go, ooh, someone in the airport says, how about this? We'll impound them and then wait a little bit and then we'll sell it off or distribute it among our people. It's not just India. Many countries have this. I have been to many countries where I felt this, but it was a sting so strong. We were busy on our way toward a mission trip, and you start to ask yourself, why God? We were in the Hyderabad airport, and I remember all of my group had left the immigration area. But I was not going to leave without having our screens and projectors and all the equipment we needed. So I stayed there. It was funny because the individuals there says, no, you need to go out. And I say, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm going to stay. No, I'm going to stay. Oh, no, I'll stay here. I need to keep my eye. This is for good things. This is to help people. We have to do it. We spent so much money so that we could help people. We're going to help them with food. We're going to help them with clothing. We're going to help them with good moral teachings. No, okay, no problem. No, I will stay here. I will stay here. Sir, you need to go out. No, I will stay here with the equipment. But it can't go out. I said, I'm sorry. They said, well, it may be a couple weeks. I said, well, I'm sorry. I need to stay here with the equipment. I'm so sorry. I really, really want to follow your, I really, really want to follow what you say, but God has told me I have to be with this equipment. After about 3 hours, I was tapped on the shoulder nicely and said, Mr. John, your equipment is ready to go if you wish to go out. Oh, here it is? Okay, good. So I grabbed it and pushed it out. During that time, it's a very small amount of time compared to Paul, but it can feel very hopeless. Especially imagine after Paul had been in prison for 2 years, and it seems like nothing to show for it, and his own people had turned their backs on him. That is a time when oftentimes we say, forget it, God, you're not with us. I've been giving my life to you. I've been doing what you ask. I want to follow you, but you are not listening to me, God. I need this. We all become narcissistic in our own worlds. We all think about ourselves and what others are going to think of us and how we are going to face things, rather than looking at what God is doing. My friends, Paul was put on a boat, and praise the Lord that the centurion Julius had allowed him to go and meet his friends and worship with them for a day. And then they got back on the boat and they started to head toward Crete. And as you know, it was the fall. As they start heading to Crete, which is, of course, the Mediterranean Sea is like this, and you go down, and then the boat usually would go along the shorelines, but instead you head out to sea, more toward Crete, to hit there. There's where they exchanged a ship, and they found. It says here in Acts chapter 27 that they found an Alexandrian ship. That means an Egyptian ship. Now, my friends, I love Egyptians, and I love Egypt. But Egypt is a calm climate with warm weather, hot weather, but very calm. That's how it was always. Mesopotamia always was known as the place where there are floods and there are problems and there's always difficulties. Rome is a place where there's always difficulties and all these storms and everything. But Egypt, the worst problem in Egypt are usually the people or the famine. But it's a calm place. Every year the banks are flooded so that the growth can happen. Every year it goes down. Every year it operates. Things are normal. Life moves on. It's not big rocking areas. It's kind of like Thailand. It's got that in and out, in and out. Nothing ever changes. Everything stays the same, but it just changes around every year as a cycle. So you get a boat from a place like that. It's not going to be a boat that's going to be used to storms or problems. I know Paul was nervous about this. You see, Paul was a tent maker or tallit maker. He was someone that knew how to build. He was someone that had lived in Tarshish, Spain. He had experienced boat travail, especially on the way to Israel. But the captain said, "Oh, we can go, no problem." He's looking at money, the timing. If I get it faster, I'll get better pay if I get them faster. The centurion said, "Let's go." And Paul had said, no, let's not go. It's not good. Let's stay in Crete. Not realizing, of course, that Paul actually did want to get to Rome early. He wanted to get there as soon as possible. But thinking he's a prisoner, they're thinking he doesn't want to get to Rome. Does that make sense? So they assume that the captain, of course, knows how the weather's going to be. And that captain says, "Oh, no problem, no problem." You know, I've had that before with contractors. "Oh, no problem, no problem. I'll take care of this and I'll take care of that." And then when you get in the middle of a project, then what they didn't know about happens. As a pastor, it drives me crazy. It's like, okay, no problem can be a problem. Sometimes it's good to think things through beforehand, you know? And this captain was no different. Being from Egypt, no problem. We're going to be fine. It's fall, but that's okay. He didn't expect the northeastern wind to come as they started heading from Crete back around to Fairhaven and up north. The cold and heat started to mix. And it started to churn as a typhoon hit from the south and from the west. It started to hit the boat, and they started to have to. Now, I could read here, but if you look and read, this is an amazing story. They even had taken a lashings around the boat to put it around the bottom. As someone jumps out of the boat, goes to the other side to tie the ship together because they didn't want it to break apart. And they hold, and they were stuck, and then they decide to throw the anchor down to lock in, but the storm dragged them as it tore at the ship. For days they were not able to eat. They started throwing their tackle off and the heavy things off of the boat. They started to throw even their food off and supplies and the stuff that they had planned to take. Isn't it interesting how the reason why we were in a hurry is so that we can get money? Now we just want to survive. This is how it is in human life. Paul had said to wait. Wait till the winter. I know it's cold. I know it's going to be 3 months, but it's safer, especially for this boat, this Alexandrian boat. But even the captain says, "Let's go." Centurion says, "Yeah, I'd like to get back to Rome." Well, in the midst of the madness, an angel of the Lord came to him, and let me read here. He said, on chapter 27, verse 21, after they had gone a long time without food, Paul stood up before them and he said, "Men, you should have taken my advice not to sail from Crete, when you would have spared yourselves this damage and the loss. But I urge you to keep your courage." Now here, Paul lets them know that he knew what the problem was and they weren't listening to him. I know what I'm talking about. But then he gives the hope. Here comes the other side. Keep up your courage, because not one of you will be lost. Not only only the ship will be destroyed. Last night an angel of God, to whom I belong and whom I serve, stood before me and said, "Do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand trial before Caesar, and God has generously given you the lives of all of those who are sailing with you." So keep courage, men, for I have faith in God that it will happen just as he told me. Nevertheless, we must run aground at some island. In other words, that ship is going to be hit, because they were slowly trying to read how low the water was, how deep the water was, and it was getting shallower and shallower, and they go, "Oh no, we're going to run aground and be destroyed." It's amazing how God gives grace to us just because we're with somebody that he loves. God loved Paul so much that he would spare that entire crew. And you know, that crew, I believe, became Christians. We're going to see in upcoming episodes. We're at 120 right now, but we're going to see in upcoming episodes how he does show them beyond the shadow of a doubt that there is a God. In the early Christian church, the cross wasn't oftentimes used as a symbol. It was something else. It is the shape of, it's like this, the anchor. The anchor of hope. Anchor of hope. Are you in a time of hopelessness? Maybe financial, maybe physical, maybe relationship. The only time when you're able to have hope is when you feel hopeless, my friends. Hopelessness is the bridge to hope, my friends. Jesus has a purpose for you. And even if your ship runs aground and it breaks to pieces, he shall save you. You don't need that stuff. All you need is him and those around you whom God has called to be on your ship or on the ship that you are on. Paul needs to go to Caesar. But God, even though dumb decisions are being made by the centurion and that ship captain, God has a purpose for all of it, so that his glory may be made manifest in their lives. God's glory can be made manifest in your life, my friends. He's called you. He loves you. And even if it seems like he's not there, I'm telling you he is. He's there strong. I'm so glad you're here. Remember, in the next few moments, 7:15, it starts intercession, where we pray individually for you and many others. We also ask that you smash the like button, subscribe, share this baby out. Whether you're on Facebook, share it on your timeline. Or if you're on YouTube, you can share it with your phone. You can share it around. This is for you to be able to share with others. You can become an evangelist of Jesus Christ. May God bless you, and make sure you subscribe. Ask others to subscribe too, because as they subscribe, then they will be notified of these videos and the church service we do every week on Streams of Life. May God bless you, and I'll see you right now for intercession.